So this year saw the 150th playing of the Open Championship at St Andrews. And we thought we would like to celebrate in some way that milestone. And what better way than to recreate the original 12 holes that Tom Morris set out? Seemed a good idea at the time. We used 6 of the original greens anyway on the 18-hole course. 5 of the other greens were on fairways, so reasonably easy to recreate. There was one that required a bit of work where it was in the rough, so what we ended up doing was relaying a green there. And so some of the greens will be more 1860 standard, and other greens will be 2022 it's standard. Another thing just to highlight before I finish is that everyone knows Merion is famous for its basket flagpoles, but actually we were using baskets long before Merion were. And in fact, the architect who designed Merion, Mr. Wilson, came over to the UK for ideas before they were moving to the East Course in 1912. And he saw baskets here, and I think he saw baskets at another club as well. So we thought it'd be quite nice to recreate our basket flags again. So we've done that too. That's really just a very potted history of what we've done over the last year. Hope you enjoy yourself.
It is difficult to convey the original 12 holes of Prestwick Golf Club without being overly descriptive. For many, this course is something they will only ever read about or watch about on social media, and as such, this film will try to convey as much colour about the outstanding layout as one can muster into a succinct visual essay. The first hole on the original layout at Prestwick plays 578 yards, 1 foot and 9 inches. A measure much more precise than the measurements we receive today. Then again, you needed to be that much more precise when playing with the hickory clubs. The course starts as it begins to go on. You play the vast length of the hole, and during your journey you cross over 2 greens, the 5th green and the 11th green, before playing into the small, undulating first green, which sits on the site of today's 16th green. As was the tradition, one tees off close to the green they finish the hole, and as such you turn and play the second hole, which is the current 17th, and one of the toughest holes in any era, let alone in the era of hickory equipment. The blind approach to the green is hidden by a vast dune, and within its shadow lies the Sahara bunker, a treacherous cavern that is indeed a penal hazard if you happen to succumb to its gravity. The course then goes on to become more familiar, playing today's 2nd and 3rd holes, and a hole very similar to today's 13th. By far the most difficult hole to navigate safely on the 12-hole routing is the 6th. The 6th hole interacts with the 1st, the 5th, the 12th, the 2nd, possibly the 10th, the 7th and the 4th before playing into the green, which it shares with the 3rd. The course then meanders its way back and forth throughout the dunes with exquisite one-shot holes, including the 8th, the site of the first ever recorded hole-in-one in golf, shot by young Tommy Morris. The 9th green is a delight to set eyes on. Perched precariously between the cardinal bunkers, it requires an exacting approach if you're to escape the hole with as few shots as possible. Onto the homeward stretch, you play through the dunescape back towards the cairn from which you teed off the first to complete a mesmerising round of golf that was quick to complete but never to be forgotten. With all the history that Prestwick has, it is difficult to describe the feeling you get when you're stood on that tee box that was used in the very first Open Championship. Knowing that the pioneering titans of the sport have stood on that exact same spot, played with similar equipment, and walking in the footsteps of the likes of James Ogilvy Fairley, Willie Park Sr. and old and young Tom Morris. The feats that have been achieved, particularly by young Tom Morris, get brought into sharp focus when you attempt the same course with the same equipment. Infamous shots like the 3 on the first hole and the first ever recorded hole-in-one on the 8th defy belief when you're faced with those challenges yourself. The course is manic, yet undeniably beautiful. There would have been far easier ways for Tom to construct this 12-hole routing, but the intriguing way that he criss-crossed the 12-hole routing has one questioning whether he was giggling to himself when he laid it out. It truly was a pleasure to step foot on this wonderful bit of history, and hopefully a tradition that Prestwick Golf Club will embrace for many more years to come.